Hey guys, Austin here with Blue Ridge Mountain Adventures. Got Gunner here, and we're waiting for our buddy Trevor in Marshall, North Carolina. We're going to do us a little 3 or 4 night camping adventure over in Hot Springs. So, going to do a little 4-wheeling and hiking and cooking some good food, and I hope y'all will watch and travel along with us. This is going to be a fun adventure. I just finished up my winch work and all that on my truck, so I'm excited to go out and do a little 4-wheeling. Thanks for watching, guys. If you don't mind, try to hit that like and subscribe button. It really means a lot to Gunner and I here. We're just new, trying to start up our YouTube channel. That subscribe button's easy to hit and makes a big difference. Thanks, guys.
But not quite night. We might say to this, Over midi, smerie. Bjorn dropped a suitcase next to mine and deposited himself onto it. Means being in the middle of the melting butter and porridge when you are somewhere unbelievable. I'll be back in a second, I said. I held. The spell was broken. I took her back in. The spectacular aurora hadn't been the only shock of coming outside. The other half of the aircraft was gone. Disappeared. We hadn't heard anything from Adrian on Howard's messaging app after a few hours into the storm. We weren't sure what to think, and the storm so ragingly intense and loud that there was no way to go outside to see what was happening. The ice around us had broken into a patchwork of channels and flows, jostling quietly in what remained of the swells from the storm. You think the other part of the plane sank? I asked. The fog had dissipated. Bjorn said, I think that wing sticking up acted like a sail. Had to be blowing at more than 100 kilometers an hour for a day. That it pushed them miles away. Hard to say. Or tip them over into the abyss. But I didn't push the point. I didn't want to think about it. Didn't want to imagine what could have happened to Adrian and Irene and the hundreds of desperate people back there. Despite my efforts, my mind filled with images of rushing cold.
Still haven't had to put it in full drive yet.
Against metal.
Surprising.
Otto told us our section of the plane was stable, but Bjorn and I had discovered a huge new crack in our ice floe.
What a
It
view.
ran straight through the middle, right down the center under the fuselage. Both edges of the ice now visibly angled inward. It probably wasn't a new crack. The impact of the crash must have caused it, but the storm had made it worse. At any moment, the two halves of our ice raft could split and send the nose section of the plane and us plunging into the frigid waters. We could abandon it, but then do what? Try and sleep in the open, in the new wet snow? And what would happen if the cold returned?
Still
The
some snow
fuselage was
up
our
here.
only shelter. All the life rafts were in the other half of the plane. I closed my eyes in silence for a few seconds.
Definitely tell we've gained some elevation.
The iridescent
A lot
light
colder
cast
up here.
dappled shadows over the mishmash of ice and dark water that stretched to the fuzzy horizon. More than a mile away, and I doubted we would see the other half. They had just been blown further away. In a few hours it would lighten up, and we'd get a better view. It had warmed up. It didn't even feel cold, but the terrible headache gnawed behind my eyes. My tongue felt like it was attached to the top of my mouth. I needed to remember to drink some water when I got back inside. I'd say it was a few degrees above freezing, eh? Bjorn said. Maybe even 6 or 7? Terrifying, isn't it? The warm air was a welcome relief, but now I wished it was colder. We needed the ice to hold together, not melt apart. I couldn't even swim, not that it would help. Bjorn continued. Last winter temperatures in the Arctic were 45 degrees Fahrenheit warmer than normal. Imagine if that translated into lower latitudes. If Phoenix had summer temperatures of 160. It's coming in Lily's lifetime. Half of America will become uninhabitable, whether you believe humans are causing it or not. I'm more worried about the next few days than decades. Bjorn looked me up and down. I noticed you haven't been drinking much water, my friend. I have been, I said, but he was right. I'd been keeping it for Lily. You know, the air is so dry up here, it's more like a desert than anything else, and being dehydrated will hasten frostbite, lower your blood pressure, a whole lot of bad things. We want to keep your little girl alive. You need to stay healthy. He produced a bottle of water from his pockets. I've been stuffing it with snow and melting it down. Come on. I took a few sips. He encouraged me to drink more, so I finished it. The moon hung behind us. It hadn't set in 4 days, but it wasn't full anymore. Maybe 3/4. A shimmering red dot below it. Mars, with Venus almost opposite in the sky, right at the horizon. Venus was the third brightest object in the sky after the sun and moon. Straight in front of us, the sky was darker, almost purple-black, and the aurora was brightest. Overhead, the sky was deep blue, dark enough for Polaris to shine through. A few other stars pricked through the heavens with it. Aldebaran in the Taurus constellation, barely visible near the moon. The horizon-to-horizon view was massive, unfettered by trees or buildings. Seemed 10 times bigger than any sky I'd ever seen before. The glowing ribbon of green fluttered and stuttered, shifted one way and then back, and then began to undulate against the brightening red background. The scale was impossible to comprehend, like a wall into heaven. The speed of transitions in the light showed breathtaking.
We're almost
How could
there,
something
buddy.
so massive and quick be absolutely silent? The blues and purples and gold and greens reflected against the rolling horizon-to-horizon snowscape, like we'd been transported into some other dimension. Same principle as neon light tubes, Bjorn said as he watched me watching the aurora. Charged particles from the sun, the solar wind, are funneled into channels by the Earth's magnetic field. When they hit atoms in the atmosphere, it gives off light. The red,
I'm gonna go ahead and
he
put her
pointed
in
high
full
overhead,
drive just to
is from oxygen atoms way
better
above
to do
200
that
kilometers.
than so. Alright. 3. Let's lock those bad boys in. And lock again. Alright guys, we finally made it. We have made it to the campsite. We've been here before. Gunnar and I have been here before. We're way up in the mountains. I mean, there's still quite a bit of snow on the ground. Gunnar, don't get in the water, bud. So yeah, this is the site. We do have fresh water. We're at the top of the mountain. A nice little mountain spring. It's going to be our campsite over here. That's where I'll set up our shelter. It's right there. Sucks that there's snow right there. Anyway, alright, let's get to clearing. Alright, so what we're going to do first, 3 little rules of camping. First is shelter. Step 2, got to get that alcoholic beverage. So that's what we're going to do first and second. Got me a cool little military shovel here. Go clear off some snow. Gunner, get out of the water. Gunner, get out of the water. I'm gonna get wet. I'm gonna be wet. I'm trying to do is clean out a footprint for my tent. I don't want it to get super wet underneath there. There will be a little snow and left on the ground, of course. I'd like to get most of it out of there. And let me move y'all closer so you can see what's going on. Alright. So what I'm trying to do is clear up at least a little bit of the snow out. Make me a little path coming through here. So the ground is very frozen. So I'm not really sure. Alright. I think y'all should be able to see a little bit better like that. Come on. I'm not very good at editing yet either, so I'm sorry my videos are kind of probably boring. I will figure all this out. I'm very new at YouTube. Love watching YouTube, but the whole video editing process is new to me. My buddy Trevor that's supposed to be meeting us up here, he's really good at that kind of stuff. I'm not sure what happened to him. Gunner, no. It's very sharp. Alright, well, I think that'll be good enough. Let's get the tent. I am going to use 2 base tarps. I have the one that came with my tent, and then I have another one just because of the snow and stuff. I want an extra thick layer on the bottom so we can try to stay warm. So go get let's set up the tent. We are loaded down with a bunch of gear. So first thing I gotta do is get this tent up. Gunner, stay over here, bud. Sorry about that. Y'all fell out of the tree. Got the tent up. Everything looks good. Gunner, stay here. Good boy. Good boy. You stay here. Ow, dude, that hurts. Head button. step one's complete. We have shelter. And the reason I do this first is you never know what the weather's going to be like in western North Carolina. So, one minute we're blue skies, the next it could be snowing or raining. You never know. So, my tip, I'm no professional, but my tip is do your shelter first. And then whatever you think you might need to do next, firewood's very important. That's my number 2, 3. I really like to get an adult beverage out, and that's my step 2. So step 3 is to go get firewood, and I've got Project Gunsmoke with us, my old 88 F-150. We want to take that thing out and see if I did bring a little wood, but as cold as it's going to be, we'll need it. So, the ground's frozen. Be a little challenging to get these pins in the ground, but we'll do it. We did it. Our mountains are very rocky. I've got a neat tool. Gunner, please get away from the creek. So this little guy is a little multi-tool, has a knife and pliers and stuff, but the main thing I like to use has a little tiny little axe on one side, which I have really sharp right now, but the main thing is this hammer. I can hammer in when the ground's frozen, and hammer in my stakes, which is key. That way you don't bend them. And they're in. No bent stakes like that. So that's a really cool little tip. I think Dad got it off of Amazon or something. We get everything off Amazon. My family does. So most of my camping stuff, depending on what it is, I like to see, you know. But I got this tin off of Amazon, so I can't. Their return policy is so good, you really can't deny it. You know, prices. Okay. And when you're staking these down, you want to try to get them as low to the ground as you can. If there was really snow around here, I'd like to bury a little snow around it, but stop. This dog's the best camping dog in the world, but he is so snoopy. He snoops around, sniffs and tastes, and he chews on rocks. I mean, rocks. Okay. Got all my stakes in the ground. So it's summertime, I usually pull the sides out, but during the wintertime, I want that tent to be as close as I can. And, keep in Gunner and I's body heat. Alright. Good there. Alright. Appreciate you guys watching. You know, I know some people can't get out and do this, or y'all might live in the city or whatever it might be, but it means a lot to me that y'all are taking the time out of your day to watch this. I'd really love to start making this a career. I have epilepsy, so it's kind of narrows down the jobs that I can get, especially around where I live. There's just not many job opportunities. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and that was the setup of the tent. Very easy. Thanks.
Twilight. I was back outside with my new sneakers wrapped in new plastic bags.
All right, Gunner, let's start a
No
fire,
stars
bud.
in the slate blue gray sky.
We're gonna have
with
to
a
cheat.
three-quarter moon near the edge of the horizon. No Mars, no Venus, no clouds. A dome of near nothingness, 360 degrees around our fuselage.
I do have a
screen,
heater,
covered
so I
in
mean,
drifting
it's not.
snow.
Oh, I'm
Black
sorry, bud.
patches of water between undulating flows near us. In the distance, the sky merged seamlessly with the blue light below. Utterly alone. The view was hard for my mind to comprehend or process. Like a 1,000-pound slug of lead pressed against the top of my brain.
So I've forged a knife I'm trying
No
out.
day, no night. No signal that hours
It's
went by.
a
except
chef
the
knife
digits in my watch.
slash camping knife
I kept
slash
looking up for blinking lights.
anything
I
really. I
stopped
mean,
high-stepping through the new
it's pretty
snow every few
badass.
seconds to listen.
It's very,
My
very,
head,
very sharp.
ear, and
So
body going up to the sky like a
we'll try it out.
We came to the range a larger visual sign in the snow with the suitcases.
Hey, buddy.
The air was quiet, so we didn't need as much of a wind break. There were satellites overhead, looking for us. That's what the BBC said. British people were smart. They knew what was going on. The broadcast, I just know. He trudged back to the edge of the ice and dropped the cases. He had a life jacket around his neck like the rest
You
of us.
silly boy. What you got?
The temperature for
What is that? Is that a new
It
toy?
doesn't warm up like that near Russia. What's the temperature supposed to be? It's more like minus 20 this time of year. Maybe minus 25. I was aching, numb, cold already. Minus 20. You wouldn't survive a day. Minus shape. Two of them. One of them raised something
Alright, we're
and
using the
wagged
Boreal
it side to
24.
side. Was it a
Maybe it's
seal?
the 21.
Narwhals again?
24.
No.
Boreal
No, it
24.
was.
It's a little
I
badass
raised
saw,
both
man.
arms and waved back.
It's definitely cooled down.
My
It's
voice
about,
cracked with shrill excitement.
I'd probably say 17 degrees. It was 22 when we got here and the sun was out. And the sun's definitely dropped, so
Chapter 21.
not really much
I yelled
wood.
and jumped
There's
and
not
waved
much
my
wood
arms.
at all around here,
How far
so
away? A mile? It was hard to judge. A thumping concussion and sputtering hiss. The
cut
snow
up a little
around me
wood,
rattled
get the
and
fire
reflected
started.
wind. I turned to see the shimmering spurt of a flare arcing
Gunner's
into the
playing with
snow
his new
blue sky.
toys.
Otto had one hand straight above his head. The flare pistol pointed skyward. Liz stood in a gaping wound of metal at the cabin opening, balanced on one of the galley parts. The woman had already climbed onto the roof and stood in knee-deep snow, one hand shielding his eyes. She stood to one side of Liz with John in his arms. I watched the flare flash as it trailed a dark smoke behind it. The flicker had stopped. People in there had gotten out and spread onto the ice. Was I sure I'd seen it? I glanced back. Space as well. A flash in the corner of my eye. Supported by a pillar strand of over the ice. That's why they got out. Their own flare. My stomach felt like it dropped through my knees into the watery depths. Was this the other half of our aircraft who disappeared 2 days ago? Maybe this wasn't a rescue.
Alright, so I'm going to get my shovel and put it at a 90-degree angle and make it into a little hoe. And clean out the fire pit a little bit.
Was this tiny struggling band the last of the 200-odd people I've last seen freeze over that?
So, I've already started step 2. Toddy.
I scanned the sky. No blinking lights.
My water bottle said helps keep it cold, not that I need to right now, but
rescues of planes swarming around us, dropping off supplies, helicopters, icebreakers. The distant flare trickled down into the snow and winked out. Maybe 5 or 10 minutes since we first seen them.
I'm just gonna cut up this wood, and I'll be back at you whenever
I heard the groan of the engines again.
Fire this puppy up.
My traps didn't have engines. They were closer. The boat engines roared.
Alright guys, Happy New Year's.
Should I hit him again? I have no idea about adrenaline other than fight or flight. But if I was a betting man, which I wasn't, I'd bet another dose right now would kill me. His heart was already going like a staccato jackhammer. Give him a minute. Maybe he'd wake up again. I gently let go of Josh and picked up the med kit again. Fished out a bottle and dumped a few pills into my hand. Swallow these, I said as I stood. 2 Haldol. Then we can talk. She already gave you some. I'm giving you more. Liz hadn't come back in yet. Usually she kept close to Josh and hovered around him. I told you this wasn't an accident. I know things. You said a lot of things. But I knew. Howard's voice gained pitch. Who is outside? Who are they? You can't leave me tied up like this. You tried to shoot us. I tried to save you. From who? Octo. He spat the second syllable out like phlegm. I have your disc. That's what they really want. What they need from first class. You know how many times I've stolen $1 billion? Come again? I make a living doing penetration tests. I'm a hacker, but a white hat. Good guys. I'd break into banks and steal $1 billion. I gave it back. I even broke into nuclear reactors. A ballooning sense of unreality gripped my mind. How much should I believe from this guy? But there seemed to be kernels of truth in the chaff of his mind. Howard, we don't have much time. Tell me what you know. I moved closer and proffered the pills again. He nodded. I put them into his mouth. He swallowed and opened wide enough for me to inspect. Outside, the engines cut off, or one of them. The others sounded more distant. Were they circling us? Or was that another boat? Howard said, You said you haven't seen any airplanes? No helicopters? No boats? I mean, like big icebreakers? Only the 2 Zodiacs.
could be a subvent. They can break 10 feet of ice, and it's already broken up from the storm. I hadn't even considered that, Howard said. But how would these rescuers know where we are? The CDR, the voice recorder, the teletransponder. Josh said the replacement crew turned off all the transponders somehow. Can you turn that one off, just like that, in flight? I don't know. An admission that there was something technical that Howard didn't know was almost jarring. It made him sound honest and reasonable. Maybe these are rescuers. My stomach roiled in a painful knot. Saliva flowed in the back of my throat. You're right. Josh could be lying. I mean, he admitted he crashed the plane. Forced to crash land, I pointed out. With him at the controls. A drunk, he told me. Raging mad at his divorce. Maybe broke. Maybe... Howard rolled his eyes up at the ceiling before looking back at me. Mad at you? This has nothing to do with that. My head tipped forward as I considered retching. My cheeks burned. My stomach lurched into my throat, but I gagged and steeled myself. The spasm passed after a second. I hear things, you know. You all think I'm stupid. We're a bit scared of you. Of me? He cackled what began as a laugh, but turned into a sob. Please. Untie me, goddammit, please. My brain swam, and I sucked lungfuls of air. Calm down.
Gunner.
Calm down. The boat engine started up again. More yelling from outside. Your friend Liz, she has smallpox in a jar. Do you know what that is? I know what it is, I said. But really, I had no idea. I wanted to run, but I had nowhere to go. That's a weapon of mass destruction, my friend. She said it's a vaccine. And I heard we have a terrorist on board. I didn't say anything. Had he heard all this because we'd forgotten about it? We didn't notice the quiet gremlin we tied up in our midst? Or had somebody told me? I took a few steps back to Josh's pod and shook me gently. Listened to his breathing. More steady. His pulse not hammering. But his eyelids didn't even flutter as I shook him again. Howard continued. Whoever hijacked us, they want something on this plane. That's what Josh said. Why did all the people on this side, the ones left, stay here? It was a question I've been asking myself. You know what I think? The radio said we're close to Russia. Bjorn doesn't think so. You trust Bjorn? I didn't answer. Howard said, who's the only Russian on board? It was a rhetorical question. A billionaire trying to escape from Putin. And the billion-dollar follow-up. Whoever they were, why would they risk it? Down an entire airline? Howard answered my inner monologue without needing to be answered. You know the KGB was caught trying to cyber-infiltrate the MH17 crash investigation? That was one airliner the Russian military brought down recently. You know how many others they have? How many other airliners have been shot down or brought down on purpose by terrorists or militaries? Daddy? Said a small voice. Calm down. Lily, it's okay. What's the noise outside? Is everything okay? She sat upright in her pod bed, holding the little puppy, her shoulders hunched inward. The boat engines went silent. I took a few quick but unsteady steps around the divider and put an arm around it. It's going to be fine, Lily Pad. Don't worry. I tried to make my voice as steady as I could. They are here, said a deep voice behind us. Roman stood in the entranceway of the cabin. Chapter 23.
These sweet folk, I can sense it.
Alright, guys, I found a little bit drier wood. Come here, bub. Good boy. Having a little snack.
Wet, but also of sweat and damp, and now also of dawn. There are some people here, I said as I adjusted her makeshift head covering, and made sure her feet were wrapped and considered sitting down to put another layer of plastic around them. Roman hovered by the ragged curtain entrance in the half-light. Liz stood behind me. How long had the Russian been here? What had he heard? Liz, I said, did you check on Josh?
Let's get this
Go on. What happened? Nothing, I said, before Howard could say anything. I glanced at him and he looked at the floor. We have visitors? 2 books. They just landed. So then we're going to have to move Josh. I had to go outside and see who was here, and I decided I needed to keep Lily in my arms. Keep her close. Protect her. Muffled voices from outside. Otto, Bjorn, but someone else as well. The voices were excited, yelling. Come on, sweetie. I made my way down the aisle and edged my way past Roman. You coming? I need something. He walked past me up the aisle. I didn't ask. Liz slid by me on her way to Josh. The ice slush near the curtains had frozen over again with the returning cold, but I stepped across the galley cart bridge anyway to be sure. The puppy followed at my feet. The voices grew louder. A thin wind bit through my layers the second I stepped into the hardened snowpack. My breath heaved out a cloud of white vapor. Come here. A man in a bright orange spacesuit looking coverall waved an arm at me. His voice had a strange, flat intonation, faintly British like Bjorn's accent, but something else as well. He stood 20 feet from the twisted metal of the cabin entrance, in a growing pile of boxes at the center of the ice floe. They had already put down 2 layers of blue tarp over the uneven frozen snow and secured the corners each with a heavy black case. The man unfurled his heavy orange suit by pulling on an off-center zip that ran the top half of it, uncovering his black sweater and hat. He pulled his hands from the integrated gloves and tied 2 orange arms of the suit around his waist and knelt in the middle of the tub. 2 boats, one on each side of the floe. Large black Zodiac-style inflatables each with 2 benches and an oversized outboard engine. They had secured them halfway up onto the ice. I counted 8 people, all men. 2 remained in each of the boats, one at the stern near the engine, and one at the bow, handing off equipment to other men who lugged boxes and bags to the center. One man stood off to one side of the growing pile of equipment and talked to Bjorn and Otto, who were busy explaining the crack in the middle of the floe. The man said not to worry. The guy talking to me bent over and worked on something. A stove. Steam curled from its top. Come. The man urged again and waved to me. Where are the others? The gunmetal gray cathedral sky was rimmed bluish purple. The pinprick of Polaris strode overhead. A few others pierced the vault. My dad had taught me this was nautical twilight, not civilian when no stars shone through, but when the first of them appeared. The moon was lined up with the nose of the aircraft behind us. Its crescent hugged the ice, a gray scimitar almost hidden in the distant mists. The others? The man asked again. He had a strap around his chest attached to an automatic weapon slung across his back. Each of the men seemed to be armed. There are a few inside, one of them injured, one we had to restrain. Who are you? How did you get here? Okay, come. My name is Gunnar. He waved me forward again and turned to the man talking to Bjorn and Otto. Jules, get them suits. It was hard to resist the smell of whatever was in that stove. Lily waved at the man and said hello. The puppy followed us forward. Someone opened one of the black cases and produced another orange suit like theirs and indicated that I should sit and change into it. They said we didn't need the dirty old life vests around our necks anymore, that the new suits had them integrated. Gunnar took one look at Lily and a second later produced a miniature survival suit. They said they might be children, he explained. Who exactly is they? I felt stunned. The men pulling equipment from the boats had propped up a windbreak. We sheltered in its lee, sat on the two empty cases we had pulled the suits from. Bjorn and Otto already had orange suits on as well. One of the men, Jules, helped me get Lily into hers. Bjorn said, "Mitch, drink some more for me. A whole bottle." Gunnar offered up a plastic bottle from the crate and unscrewed it. I put it to my lips and drank some down. Bjorn waved at me and encouraged me to drink more. I did my best and offered some to Lily. The next thing Gunnar handed me was an aluminum mug with steaming liquid inside. "We are so happy we found you," he said in his peculiarly accented English. He accented the first syllable of happy. "Where are you from?" I asked. Elation and fear computed for space inside my mind. Was this it? The rescue? I took the steaming mug. A sheen of unreality balanced my senses, made everything look two-dimensional and heightened the bright new colors. I hadn't seen anything but drab and gray in days. "We are Coastal Jaeger Brigade, Finnish Marines, part of the European Expeditionary Force. We located you 10 hours ago, but could not reach you due to the fracture ice." He waved a hand in the direction he'd come. He didn't pronounce his words quite right. "No airplanes?" "Yes, earlier, very high. I didn't see any." "Well, we are here, yes?" His smile was infectious, and Lily beamed one back. He held up one finger, and stood and turned, and a moment later came back with 2 gray wool blankets for Irene, the puppy, who by this time was shivering. After giving us some steaming foil-wrapped meal packets, he turned again and spoke to Jules. Otto had gone to the nearest boat. To my right, near the fuselage, Roman and Liz had appeared, and another of the men ran over with 2 survival suits. Liz pointed inside and said something I couldn't quite hear. This whirlwind of situational change seemed to happen within seconds. My mind felt shell-shocked, but the tight knot in my stomach eased a bit. These men didn't look dangerous. They didn't seem to be looking for something. Didn't hold us at rifle point and demand anything. They weren't digging through the cabin. Josh said whoever downed the plane wanted something else. Could I even trust what he said? Should I tell them what he said? Not yet. A voice cautioned in my head. Make sense of things first. Get warm first. Eat something. Calm down. The voice in my head sounded like Emma. Lily looked up at me and took a bite of her foil-wrapped sandwich. The puppy had already shaken free of the wool blankets and ran toward Liz and Roman, while Gunnar was deep in conversation with Jules a few steps away. They spoke into a walkie-talkie. "Is that a satellite phone?" Bjorn asked Gunnar. The Norwegian sat behind me. "Can I call my wife?" I asked.
Well, we finally did it. The wood was very green, very wet, but we were able to finally get the fire started. So much warmer. Hey guys, thanks for watching Blue Ridge Mountain Adventures. We're out here towards Hot Springs, North Carolina. So bristling like 11 degrees this morning. Pretty chilly. We've got Gunnar out here with me, running around here somewhere. We're just waking up and taking it easy. I made coffee already. Enjoying that. Just breaking down the tent back there. Got the little buddy heater. Man, that little thing's awesome. So yeah, kept I'd turn it on for like 30 seconds and the tent would be so hot I'd have to cut it off, and I'd have the doors open, everything. So it worked really well. There's Gunner. Say hey, Gunner. Say hey, Gunner. Hey, guys. Hey. Hey, come here. Gunner.